Hello and welcome to another episode of Taylor Talks Comics. Today we're going to go over The Cosmic Detective by Jeff Lemire, Matt Kindt, and David Rubin. Okay, so this is Cosmic Detective. This was self-published by the three gentlemen I named in the intro there. This was funded through Kickstarter. Matt Kindt, Jeff Lemire, and David Rubin did, I think, all three of their first Kickstarter with this book, and the campaign ended a little over 2 years ago, I believe, but with all the distribution issues that they've had and whatnot, it's finally here. But I'm so glad. This was actually the first Kickstarter I ever backed, I guess. And I've backed plenty since then, but this was kind of my gateway to Kickstarter, which is kind of the benefit of having these bigger name creators on Kickstarter, is it brings their audience to a new platform for distributing comics, and then hopefully a number of those people will then back other people's campaigns. So this is Cosmic Detective, and I'm a huge fan of Jeff Lemire, Matt Kindt, and David Rubin. So it was a no-brainer for me to back this. Jeff Lemire, I've often talked about on this channel, brought me back to comics when I read one of his comic books I picked up at a shop after not having read comics for a number of years, and I loved it. And I went and sought out all of his other Jeff Lemire stuff. That was then my gateway to Matt Kindt. And Matt Kindt was my gateway to David Rubin through Ether. So I know Matt and Jeff are best friends. They usually will table together at conventions and whatnot. And this is their first, I think. No, this isn't their first collaboration. Never mind. I'm wrong. They did collaborate on one of the spin-offs to Black Hammer. But David Rubin and Matt Kindt have worked together on Ether, and apparently they have another project in the works in the future. So, okay. So the trim size on this thing is a little bit of an odd shape, which I kind of like. But just to show you, this is a standard size trade paperback. I guess maybe there we go. Let's just get in the camera this way. I'll turn it back when I'm showing you the artwork. But you can see it's much taller and wider than that. This is a DC Deluxe edition. I took my bookmark in there. Which is just the same exact trim size as a DC Omnibus or a Marvel Omnibus or Marvel OHC. So see, it's a little bit bigger and wider than that. It's almost like European album sized. Anything like the old Tintin albums or whatnot, which I like. So it's the front cover. Here's the spine. And note, there is no publisher on either side. This was truly self-published, not even to the point that these three came up with their own publishing imprint just to have a name on it. And then here's the back. And it is a wraparound cover. Let me try to do this carefully. If you look at the whole thing. Just great artwork from David Rubin. And then one of the kickstarting stretch goals was to get Gilded Pages. Sorry, I'm trying to not shake the camera there. So the ends of the pages are gilded in gold, which is really nice. This adds another cool touch to it. I think the only other comic books I have with gilded pages are the Dark Horse library editions for Aliens and Predator and Terminator. First, it did come with this cool art print. I mean, I guess it's an art print, but it's kind of on flimsy, like advertisement type glossy paper, but I mean, you can still frame it and still look really great. And then here's the end papers for the front, and then the back is kind of like the reverse. So really cool end papers. The production design on this entire book was just magnificent. And then it also came with a ribbon, which is one of the other stretch goals. All right, so, and here's the credits too. So, written by Lemire and Kindt, drawn, colored, and lettered by David Rubin, which I think is awesome. I love any artist that can letter their own comic books. And then flattered by Zulia Pison and Kike J. Diaz. And then the book was designed by Matt Kindt and David Rubin. And I see a dedication here too, dedicated to Jack Kirby, who shows to all of us that everything is possible on the comic pages. And that's important to note because there's a major influence from Kirby in this comic book. So one of the I'm going to get into what the story is about too, but just right away you flip. That's like the credits page. This here looks like another in paper, but that's actually kind of the first panel of the comic book story. Something that Matt Kindt's toyed with before in his previous projects. Like he's had like the first panel of the comic book on the cover even, and it like bleeds right in. So kind of a Matt Kindt trope, if you will, but something that I love. So what is Cosmic Detective? Basically, I'm just going to flip through the artwork here. I'm going to try not to give too many spoilers away. I love this very cinematic title page too. Like you get a little bit of a scenes, what's going on, and then you get the big title page of like you're watching a movie. I'm trying to get into spoilers because there's a lot of cool twists and turns with the story, which you can imagine with a Matt Kindt comic book. He's always got twists and turns. And you can just see all the great panel layouts and artwork from David Rubin. He's just magnificent. I think every time I see a new comic book with his artwork, he's continuously pushing the bounds of what you can do in layouts and panel arrangements with comics. It's just very cool. But this is basically, I think the simplest terms would be Blade Runner mashed with Jack Kirby's Eternals. So one of the great things about Blade Runner was that it was like the cyberpunk sci-fi high stakes, high concept movie, but in the heart of it, it was really like a neo-noir 1930s crime movie just put into the setting of like that cyberpunk high stakes, high concept sci-fi. This is kind of the same flavor. Like it's like this detective here who is put into this world of, if you think like Jack Kirby's Eternals, like this huge high concept otherworldly gods kind of thing. And at the root of it, you find out that one of those gods has been murdered, and it's up to our main character here to figure out how somebody could possibly kill a god and why they would do it. That's the basic premise. I don't want to give anything more away about the premise in itself, but I will say that it's such a fun comic because there's so many little Easter eggs and homages and tributes to other comic books within the story that you can see. I'm going to show you off one here too when I get to it, just as an example. But the coolest thing about this was the way it was. Okay, here's the page I want to show you. So if you look closely, this is just one example of Easter eggs and stuff. He's falling through this kind of dimension, and as you can see this character in the roles of other comic books. So this looks like some sort of Tezuka, like Osamu Tezuka comic book. This looks like, what is that? Crazy Cat and Ignatz. I'm not gonna be able to name all of these. This one right back behind him looks like Chris Ware, like Jimmy Corrigan. This one's obviously Rorschach from Watchmen. This one's Charlie Brown, Charles Schultz. That one looks like Tintin. These two, I don't know the names of these ones, or that one. Someone help me out with that in the comments. Which, by the way, please give this video a thumbs up, like and subscribe for more videos like this. But so there's all just like little Easter eggs like that throughout the whole story. That wasn't the only Watchmen homage that I saw. There was some pretty early on in the story. But it's just three guys just having fun making a comic. And I think that's what appealed to me most. The way it was conceived was Matt Kindt and Jeff Lemire was kind of a jam comic style in the way it was written. Like one of them would write 8 pages and then pass it on to the other, and the other one would write 8 pages and then pass it back to the other one. And it was just kind of like the other one trying to outdo the other one, or the other one trying to make the other one pop with how crazy the story can get from their own mind or what have you. And it just works really well. It to the point to where it's nothing jarring about it. Like those two of them, Kindt and Lemire already have a similar storytelling style, I think. At least they're cut from the same cloth, I believe. I don't think, like, they're very distinguishable between the two of them, but it blends nicely. Like, there's not a certain point where you're like, okay, well, now I know this is where someone else took over the story. Like, you can't really tell. And I kind of wish in the back here there are some extras. And there's a script. Okay, so here's the script. And it's literally a scan of the pages too, which I love because you can even see like the grammar check here, and I think there's a spell check on one of them too. They literally just scanned in the pages. And there's even like reference photos of like the artwork that they're kind of thinking about. But I wish that they almost put the entire script in here. I think that would have been so cool just from a process perspective, and to see who was writing what, as far as how it went, and any little notes they had together of like maybe some annotations of like Matt saying like, man, I can't believe Jeff came up with that idea, or I really tried to throw Jeff a curveball this one, or those kinds of things are really cool. But as far as the other extras, you get some concept art from David Rubin as he's trying to draw what he thinks this character is going to look like in his even like reference photos of like his little gadgets and whatnot. And then what the morgue's going to look like. Here's some character concept art. And like I said, there's a script, which they give you like 3 pages of. And this is the pull-out character design thing, which I'm going to have to really get creative here with how I display this on camera. I'm not going to be able to show you the whole thing. It keeps going. And then it even goes on the back. Maybe I'll just do like a panel at a time there. But that was like another stretch goal too. What's that pull-up page? So, great story. As far as how to pick it up, I don't believe it's for sale right now. But I do know that early on they were very transparent about this, that they were going to look for ways to distribute it through Diamond after the Kickstarter. So this wasn't like sometimes you get like the bait and switch on Kickstarter, like this is a Kickstarter exclusive, and then you find out later they also distributed it through Diamond. This isn't the case there. They were very transparent about that ahead of time. But no news on that yet. No news on distributing it through anywhere else. I wouldn't be surprised if when it is distributed, it wouldn't have the Gilded Pages and whatnot. So I think those might be Kickstarter exclusives, maybe even like the ribbon and whatnot, because those are kind of more expensive add-ons. But yeah, so if you can get your hands on this, I highly recommend it. I'm sure the PDF maybe is out there for purchase, but also look for this to hit Diamond, and you can pick it up at your comic book shops or any of your online retailers. But this is a lot of fun. Like I said, Blade Runner meets Eternals. I'm in. I wouldn't say no to that. So thanks for watching. Make sure you like, subscribe, comment down below with your thoughts on this, if you're wanting to pick this up, or if you have picked it up and what your thoughts were. Yeah, thanks.